Good evening. This is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com. So here we are, 7:28 and 23 seconds on the night of Apple's earnings. And lo and behold, what is it doing? Absolutely nothing. And I looked at this before the earnings came out, and my bias on this was that it was going to gap down, okay? As it turns out, it's not even gapping. Now, what does this mean? At one point today, this was all the way up here, right when it came out, and looked like it was going to gap up. Although, by the way, I will tell you, it would have been a crappy gap up. I would never have bought it. It wouldn't have been a good one. It wouldn't have rated high enough to play long. It would have been a no-go, a nothing. But this afternoon, it was all the way up here. Hold on. It stayed under 430. I didn't like it as a long. And as I sat and watched it trade and continued, it did a double top up here and came down on top of itself, and it's not even gapping. Now, I don't know what this is going to do tomorrow morning. The night's almost done. However, I will say, though, that this is a sign that Apple is lower, even though it didn't gap down. Now, will I short this tomorrow? No, I don't do nothing gaps. I do gaps, okay? The gap has to meet the criteria. Apple, right now, at this second, if it opened tomorrow morning at 9:30, would be no play. Not long, not short, nothing to do. But this is a clue. This is a sign that my overall look of this thing is intact still. Until otherwise, it shows me something differently. Unfortunately, I won't be able to trade this as a short tomorrow because it's not gapping. And it's not a buy either. So who knows what people will do with this tomorrow morning. Whatever it does, there's nothing to do. Unless it does what I wanted it to do, which it's not doing now. I think it's probably going to open somewhere tomorrow in the range of today's trading. And that's a sign to me, Melissa, the way I read charts and price action, that the stock is lower. So take it for what it's worth. The fact is, if Apple gaps up tomorrow anywhere other than $600, you can't buy it. It's not a long. And it's not even close to doing that. It won't do that. And actually, this is just doing nothing here. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I sat here and I watched it rally. And I said, And then it all of a sudden fell off a cliff. It fell off a cliff from the hard rally up. And I said, interesting. And now here it is back to almost basically the close of today. It's actually gapping a little bit under the close of today. Let's see exactly where it closed. Hold on. Closed at 403.96 on the day, which is $1 down from here, So, this chart is really terrific. You can't expect every single solitary time something has earnings that it gaps in a formation to trade. Okay, so the bottom line is, if this had gapped up to here, it wouldn't have been a good up gap, and it wouldn't have been anything to short. It would have been nothing. And if it opens here, it's nothing too. You can't expect stuff to do something every single solitary day of its life, or every single solitary day that is earnings. Do I like stuff to work all the time? Yes. But sometimes it needs to rest. And it's resting here. Just let it rest, okay? The overall, though, look at this price action, the way I'm reading this, the way I'm reading everything, the way I've been reading Apple for quite some time. And what it did today now confirms and gives me more conviction in the overall break that has yet to happen down to here, which is the number I was looking at that I thought I could, get to tomorrow. I don't see that happening now. Unless I roll out of bed tomorrow morning, this is actually gapping down and not gapping neutral. It's just not gapping as far as I'm concerned. This doesn't meet any of my criteria. It's a no-show. Just lay low with it. There's nothing to do here. There's no play in this. Apple is not a play if it opens like this tomorrow. So it's just a rest day. That's all. So very interesting, Apple. Like to look at these earnings. I followed it. I was salivating to see if it would do what I wanted to do in the second on the day. It didn't, but there's nothing to do. So you just lay off of it. And it's definitely not a long, FYI. So this is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com. If you're interested in more information on learning how to trade and rate and find and play gaps like Apple or anything else, then email me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com. Have a great night, everybody.